Hey guys, it's Dana from Valve Tec, and today I just wanted to make a more laid-back video talking about my personal wish list for the heavy update, whenever or if ever that comes out, which I'm guessing is probably going to be sometime this year. Some of it will be things I agree with from other videos, so keep that in mind if something sounds familiar. Okay, so first things first, I want to establish that the number one thing I want out of this update is just a little bit more communication from the team. I don't care if it doesn't relate to the heavy update in any way, because the majority of the stuff I'd like to see in this update is just general fixes and changes to the other classes, funnily enough. Not denoting that heavy doesn't deserve an update, because trust me, out of all the mercs, he's the most underwhelming currently. Okay, so getting back on topic, Valve, you're probably not listening, but if you are, please just communicate with us more. Even if it's a blog post on the main menu at least once a week, I think the community would feel a lot more relaxed and less tense, knowing someone is actively participating in the development of the game. The TF team knocked it out of the park with Jungle Inferno when they were developing the update. We're talking recommended changes, estimated release dates, and while just the announcement of the update in general is more than enough for the community to be relieved, and just be more active and hyped. I mean, now we're going on over 500 days without an official big update, and it would at the very least be comforting if they said the update was even taken into consideration at all. Communication is the number one easiest way to make the TF community happy, and I just really wish they would kind of just say something, you know? Okay, so moving into casual changes, I'd personally want auto balance to go back to how it originally was post Blue Moon. I cannot describe in words how annoying it is to be playing with a couple of friends on upward payload, and then all of a sudden you get bodied by auto balance because Jose Gonzalez 2007 left the match after you meat shotted him into the next round. It's unfair and doesn't solve the problem of balance, because most of the time there's still 3 or 4 other players pub stomping on the enemy team, and only eliminating one person out of the mix doesn't help at all. Now, obviously there is the retry and console method that I made a video about, and I strongly recommend you go look at that, as it's really the only way to effectively stay on the same team as your friends. The only downside, of course, being you lose all your points when you reconnect, which can be pretty annoying if you're trying to get that casual rank up. However, if you could bring back the optional to just pick what team you want to be on, Valve, that would be really great. Please and thank you. Now, since this is a wish list, and I get to basically ask for whatever I want, even though some of it is too much work, in all honesty, I'm going to ask that TF2 just get some better optimization. I know it's unrealistic, and really most of the problem is due to the Source engine in general, but I mean, come on guys, we can just port over to Source 2, right? Right, Valve? Please fix. Aside from that, I want to talk class balance, because oh boy, do some classes need to look at. Starting with Scout, we need more viable options, and I'm not talking new weapons, no, I'm talking buffing the Scout primaries that really need it. A perfect example of this is the Babyface's Blaster. Sure rewards you to dodge, but if anybody dares sneezes on you at the very minimum, you lose all your speed and are back to being slower than base speed. I feel like they should remove the loss of speed on double jump, because the Scout is already vulnerable enough when it comes to getting shot, and penalizing him for using literally his only other asset is pretty backwards in my opinion. As for the backscatter, this gun just really needs to be reworked entirely. In my opinion, this thing should have its accuracy penalty removed at the very least, so you can actually use this thing viably in most situations. That's not when you're just behind enemies. Well, I know that's what the weapon was designed for. The gun basically becomes situational and unviable in most situations compared to stock. The Pretty Boy's pocket pistol needs a buff. I mean, like, I liked it pre-Jungle Inferno, so maybe that. I don't know, the gun has been removed like 3 times at this point. Critical needs a buff, if I'm being honest, because after the nerf in Jungle Inferno, this thing became unviable completely. While I don't think it should be as powerful as it was pre-Jungle Inferno, I do believe the Scout should be penalized with marked for death until after the effects wore off, having them take effect after the first shot. Because having them take effect after the first shot basically makes you more of a pick one and die situation, almost like a spy sometimes. I would like to see a scenario where the critical would actually reward you for good aim, and just not running into a crowd. Maybe if you hit your shots, you won't be marked for death. However, if you do miss a shot, you will be. I think that'll encourage scouts to actually use the critical a little more tactically flank instead of just running into a crowd of enemies and spamming all 6 shots. Overall, I just think they heard it too much, and while nowadays I never really use it anymore, and I don't see a lot of scouts using it anymore that are at the very least competent. Soldier right now is in a pretty comfortable spot, I'd say. Maybe nerf the black box because it's kind of a crutch, but otherwise I have really nothing to complain about Soldier. Pyro needs the Flog to get nerfed back to its original negative 10% damage state, and the gas passer needs to be more viable. It'd be really nice for Pyro Sharks if the game counted you as wet in gasoline, and it would just really add a nice element for them. Or honestly, if they just made the weapon similar to Mad Milk, where you could reap health off enemies, I think that'd be very cool and emphasize Pyro's support role more. However, I do think that'd be a bit overpowered, and kind of just eliminate the purpose of having Mad Milk for the Scout in the first place. Besides that, the back burner is just a total mess in my opinion, and the red up crit should be removed on on it, but the air blast cost should be reduced down to at least 40, so the power only doesn't have 4 air blasts, which is kind of useless. Demo for the most part is in a pretty good spot, however, I'd like to see some changes to his Demo Knight subclass. I feel the Claymore sword needs a buff way back to before when it got nerfed. As of right now, basically everybody sticks to the Eyelander. On that note, everyone basically uses the same loadout for the most part, and it's quite stale in my opinion. The Caber needs a buff so demos can market garden again also, which is mentioned in Soundsmith's video. Engineer has been a very powerful class over the course of Jungle Inferno, and I feel he wasn't nerfed nowhere near as much as he was back in that update as far as he should have. The Wrangler needs to be nerfed 100%, like, the Protective Bubble needs to allow enemies to do more damage instead of only a third, and the Rescue Ranger shouldn't be able to heal more for less metal as the essentially makes the wrench only viable. The Protective Bubble needs to allow enemies to do more damage instead of only a third, and the Rescue Ranger shouldn't be able to heal more for less metal than the wrench, as at that point the wrench is only useful for taking zappers off. Arena Rescue Ranger, Wrangler, NG combined with the Pyro is the most unfun thing to play against, and as of right now, I'm really not enjoying NG. Medic is in a good spot also, however the syringe guns do need a nerf badly. Literally any competent medic I run into is using the crossbow, and while I don't think that weapon is overpowered, compared to the other syringe guns, it's easily the best choice, making it easy just to ignore the other options. So I just make the overdoses speed boost passive regardless of uber level, and the blue saga would be more interesting if you didn't have the health drain effect. With Sniper, I completely agree with what Soundsmith. Whoa, what was that? What? That was weird. Anyways, I agree with the nerf changes he suggested for Sniper right now, especially after Lacy Purple's video, because everybody's playing Sniper all of a sudden. He's just been stupidly overpowered, and he's easily the most annoying class to play against right now. His ability to dominate an entire sightline on payload maps at CP is stupid easy, and I think he should be able to pop off 150 damage shots out the ass, killing literally 6 out of the 9 mercs in the blink of an eye. It just doesn't work, and I completely agree with his headshot quickscope nerf. As for Spy, well, he's gotten progressively worse with his disguise kit as people catch on to them a lot faster. So honestly, I just like to see some buffs to his actual weapons, like the Ambassador, for an example, as that thing post Jungle Inferno has been the most horrid thing to use. If they could pull off a new watch for him, that'd be cool, but this is the heavy update, so I wouldn't really expect that. Honestly, with these other classes, I'm not looking for new items. I'm just looking for, you know, fixing the pre-existing ones that have just been either nerfed into the ground or are just OP as hell. Well, finally, the main guy out of the house, everybody's been waiting for him, and that is the heavy weapons guy. I freaking love this guy. I mean, he's the first Meet the Team short I watched, and that's what I fell in love with this game in the first place. However, over the years, he's progressively gotten more and more boring to play, and I just really think he needs something to refresh his gameplay. For starters, we need a subclass option. Yes, Fat Scout exists, and I do believe it'd be cool if he had some sort of vest in place of the minigun that gives you resistance, similar to the Demo Knight with his boots or shield, but only a shotgun to be a tanky scout. However, I would prefer some different ways to play heavy. For example, I think a minigun that allows you to move a bit quicker and with an increased fire rate, that basically allows you to play more aggressively would be really nice. Obviously, it would balance out with whatever downsides needed, but just something to allow him to be more versatile. I understand that the point of Heavy, his job isn't to be a scout, but the term of him being defensive in the class selection menu is frankly outdated, and he's commonly seen used on both offense and defense. So what I'm asking at the very minimum is that Heavy is, at the very least, given some different ways to play besides being a mobile sentry gun. As for Man vs. Machine, Valve, we literally have a whole update ready for you to publish. Just make an SFM movie to go along with it and launch it with some new Australians or another loot, and boom, you have a new MVM update. It's such a shame that the team is letting this mode rot, considering it was one of the biggest updates to drop in the game's lifespan, and I feel like the community is shrinking by the day. In the end, I really just want what's best for this game mode, and I'm really passionate about the future it has. So Valve, please, if at any point you can, just borrow from the community. Your job is basically done. But guys, I think that'll be all for me in this video. Before you guys click off, I just really like to say thank you for the support on the channel lately. The support has been insane, and I'm just really grateful for you guys sticking around and enjoying the content I make, whether it be good or bad. Regardless, you guys, tell me what you think. What do you want to see from the Heavy update personally? With all that being said, guys, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and as always, thank you, and have a good day.